In the early hours of June 1995, an ominous cloud hung over the small town of Bald Knob, Arkansas. At 3:45 a.m., the police received a frantic call. Mary Phillips, a 34-year-old mother, and her 11-year-old daughter, Lacey, had vanished. The community was on edge, for a serial killer was known to be on the loose, evading capture at every turn. Lacey Phillips lived with her mother, Mary, father, James, and two older siblings, 14-year-old brother Jesse and 17-year-old sister Darla. On June 6, 1995, Lacey was under Darla's care during the summer break. At 4 p.m., Darla dropped Lacey at their mom's workplace, the local county tax office, for a scheduled dentist appointment.
I walked inside the office and we were talking, laughing, no big deal. My mom went to, kiss me goodbye, tell me I love you.
Darla left to spend the night at a friend's house, not knowing it would be the last time she would see her mother. As evening approached, James and Jesse grew worried when Mary and Lacey didn't return. It was unusual for Mary not to inform them if she'd be late. By nightfall, their concern turned into fear, and they called the police. The police dispatcher, trying to gather information, learned about the dentist appointment and Mary's workplace.
Daughter that haven't been seen or heard from since 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The red flags are waving.
With time against them in a missing persons case, they quickly sent a police officer to the county tax office, the last known location of Mary and Lacey.
I was at home shortly after midnight when I received the call, so it only took me about, 5 minutes or so to get to that location.
Arriving at the office's parking lot, he found it empty except for Mary's pickup truck. He confirmed its registration and approached the building, noticing the door was unlocked. Inside, the dark office revealed a gruesome sight. Mary's body, beaten and bound. The officer called for backup, photographing the scene meticulously. Following a trail of blood, he found a closed door. Opening it cautiously, he discovered Lacey, tied to a chair, motionless and covered in blood. As he began photographing the second crime scene, something unexpected happened.
When I started to take the photograph, she kind of turned and looked up at me. It was a shock, a real shock. You can imagine, it's kind of like seeing someone rise from the dead. Well, immediately I told the other officers that we need to get an ambulance down there, that she was still alive.
Lacey's eyes were wide open, staring back at the officer. Despite her injuries, she was conscious. The officer quickly untied her and reassured her, though she was in dire need of medical attention. Her only concern was her mother. Lacey was rushed to the hospital, barely clinging to life. She had severe head injuries, signs of strangulation, and her jaw was fractured. Her father, James, in shock, struggled to comprehend the horrific turn their lives had taken. As Lacey stabilized, police prepared to interview her, hoping she could provide crucial details.
Okay, Lacey, are you still awake, good? Yes, ma'am. Do you remember at all what it looked like?
In her hospital room, Lacey began to recount the nightmare.
Children's Hospital, and I was in ICU. They asked me to tell my story as to what happened. I think the details of that day are just engraved in me and part of me.
On June 6th, around 4 p.m., while at her mother's office, a man walked in. Initially, they thought he was a customer, but his latex gloves, wire coil, and pistol told a different story. He declared it a robbery and bound Mary's hands before forcing Lacey into the bathroom, tying her to a chair.
So I sat in it, and he tied both my arms to the chair behind my back. And I said, "Don't hurt my mama." And he said, "I'm not going to hurt your mama, I'm going to hurt you."
She regained consciousness, covered in blood, and screamed for her mother. The man returned, furious, and strangled her before leaving, assuming she was dead. Hours passed until the officer discovered her.
It took a few times after I heard the clicking noise to realize what it was. I wanted to move, but my body just wouldn't let me move. And so then I just stopped and listened. And then that's when I told myself, that clicking noise, I said, "Is someone taking a picture?"
Lacey's detailed description of the man, including his teardrop tattoo, was a breakthrough.
He had a teardrop tattoo on his face that I will always remember.
Lacey was able to tell the deputy that the guy that beat her had a tattoo on his arm and a tattoo of a teardrop under one of his eyes.
When local law enforcement immediately connected it to 31-year-old Jack Jones. Known for his criminal record and the distinctive tattoo, Jones was quickly apprehended. Jones confessed without hesitation. He revealed he had randomly targeted Mary, seeking revenge for his wife's alleged rape. He described in chilling detail how he murdered Mary and attempted to kill Lacey.
He thought that if he'd been done wrong, well, that justified him doing wrong to somebody else.
This man right here didn't do his job.
I told them to do his job, get that boy in jail, or I was going to have something happen. They didn't listen.
Jones' trial began in April 1996. The jury listened to the harrowing evidence and Lacey's recorded statement. They found him guilty on all charges. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection for Mary's murder, life in prison for rape, plus 30 years for Lacey's attempted murder. While on death row, Jones confessed to other murders, including 32-year-old Lorraine Barrett and 20-year-old Regina Harrison. DNA evidence later confirmed his involvement. Jack Jones awaited his execution, while Lacey and her family faced a long journey of healing. Lacey, despite the trauma, found the strength to testify at every parole hearing.
I've been here before. This is not the first time I've been here, and me and my family have been here. Well, I came one time and said I had a 4-year-old daughter. Okay, well now I have an 11-year-old daughter, the same age as I was when Mom was taken away from me and my family. My love for my mother, my respect, my memories will always be there. And he can never take that away from me.